December 16th, 1944. The Ardennes Forest, Belgium. It's 5:30 in the morning. American soldiers huddle in their foxholes, trying to stay warm in the freezing pre-dawn darkness. They've been told this sector is quiet, a rest area, somewhere to recover after months of brutal fighting across France. They're wrong. 250,000 German soldiers, supported by 1,000 tanks, launch a massive surprise offensive, the largest German attack on the Western Front since D-Day. The Battle of the Bulge has begun. But amid the chaos of conventional warfare, something else is happening, something unprecedented. Something that will turn Allied soldiers against each other in a fog of paranoia and suspicion. German commandos, dressed in American uniforms, speaking fluent English, carrying forged documents, are infiltrating behind Allied lines. Their mission? Sabotage, deception, confusion, chaos. Within days, American soldiers will be shooting at other American soldiers. General Omar Bradley, one of the most senior commanders in Europe, will be detained at gunpoint by his own MPs. Thousands of troops will be interrogated, tested, accused of being German infiltrators. This is the story of Operation Greif, the most audacious deception operation of World War II. A mission so bold, so unprecedented, that it changed the rules of warfare forever. A mission led by one man, Otto Skorzeny, Hitler's favorite commando, the man who rescued Mussolini, the most dangerous special operations soldier in Nazi Germany. And a mission that, if it had succeeded, might have changed the outcome of the Battle of the Bulge, and perhaps the entire war. By autumn 1944, Nazi Germany is dying. The Allies have liberated France. American, British, and Canadian forces are pushing toward the German border. The Soviets are crushing the Wehrmacht in the east. Germany's cities are being reduced to rubble by round-the-clock bombing. Hitler knows he's running out of time, running out of men, running out of options. But he's not ready to surrender. Not yet. In October 1944, Hitler conceives one final desperate gamble, one last offensive that might, just might, split the Allied armies, recapture the vital port of Antwerp, and force the British and Americans to negotiate peace. It's called Unternehmen Wacht am Rhein, Operation Watch on the Rhine. The Allies will later call it the Battle of the Bulge. Hitler orders absolute secrecy, radio silence, nighttime troop movements, deception operations to make the Allies think the Germans are preparing to defend, not attack. The plan requires surprise, overwhelming force in the initial assault, and something else, something unconventional. Hitler summons Otto Skorzeny to his headquarters.
If Hitler has a favorite soldier, it's Otto Skorzeny. At 6'4", with a distinctive dueling scar running down his face, Skorzeny looks like he was born to be a commando. He's charming, brilliant, utterly ruthless, and completely loyal to the Führer. In September 1943, Skorzeny led a daring raid to rescue Benito Mussolini from imprisonment on Gran Sasso Mountain in Italy. Using gliders and overwhelming audacity, Skorzeny and 90 commandos landed on a supposedly impregnable mountaintop, overwhelmed the guards without firing a shot, and flew Mussolini to safety. It was the most spectacular special operations mission of the war. It made Skorzeny a legend. Hitler personally decorated Skorzeny with the Knight's Cross, promoted him, and made him the Reich's go-to man for impossible missions. Now, in October 1944, Hitler has another impossible mission in mind. The meeting is top secret. Only a handful of officers are present. Hitler explains the plan for the Ardennes offensive. Then he reveals Skorzeny's role. Skorzeny is to form a special brigade, Panzer Brigade 150. Its mission? Infiltrate behind American lines during the opening hours of the offensive. The Commandos will wear American uniforms, drive captured American vehicles, speak English, carry forged documents. They will sabotage bridges, fuel depots, and ammunition dumps. They will change road signs. They will issue false orders. They will spread confusion and panic. And, most ambitiously, they will attempt to capture bridges over the Meuse River before American engineers can destroy them, opening the way for German panzers to race toward Antwerp. Skorzeny immediately understands two things. First, this could work. The chaos of a massive surprise offensive is perfect cover for infiltration operations. American rear areas will be in confusion. Normal security procedures will break down. His men might be able to move freely for hours, maybe days. Second, this violates the laws of war. Soldiers fighting in enemy uniforms can be executed as spies if captured. There will be no prisoner of war protections, no Geneva Convention rights. His men will be volunteers. They'll have to be. Because, if they're caught, they'll be shot.
At a secret training facility near Grafenwern, Skorzeny's commandos begin an intensive crash course in becoming American. They study captured American field manuals, learn American military ranks and insignia, practice American radio procedures, memorize American slang and idioms. They learn to walk like Americans, hands in pockets, relaxed posture, none of the rigid German military bearing. They learn to smoke American cigarettes the American way. They even learn American sports scores and popular culture, details they might need to pass casual conversation tests. The Luftwaffe provides detailed intelligence on American checkpoints, passwords, and identification procedures. Forgers create fake American military IDs, complete with photographs and signatures. The German army scrounges up captured American vehicles, jeeps, trucks, even a few Sherman tanks. Mechanics paint them, repair them, make them combat-ready. The men practice sabotage techniques, how to quickly cut telephone lines, how to change road signs to misdirect American troops, how to plant explosives on bridges without being detected. They practice deception, how to talk their way through checkpoints, how to impersonate military police, how to issue false orders convincingly. Skorzeny watches his men train. He's impressed by their dedication, their courage, their willingness to risk everything for the Reich. But he's worried. Many of these men aren't ready. Their English is too poor. Their knowledge of American culture is too limited. Their acting skills inadequate. If they're questioned closely at an American checkpoint, they'll be exposed immediately. But there's no more time. The offensive is scheduled for mid-December. His commandos need to be ready. Skorzeny divides his force into three types of teams. First, the Pathfinders, small teams of his best English speakers who will infiltrate deep behind American lines in the first hours of the offensive. Their job is sabotage and reconnaissance. They'll drive captured jeeps, wearing American uniforms, and try to reach the Meuse River bridges before American engineers can destroy them. These are the elite, the best of the best. They understand they probably won't survive. But if they succeed, if they can keep those bridges intact, German panzers can cross the Meuse and drive on to Antwerp. The offensive might actually succeed. Second, the confusion teams, larger groups who will operate in American rear areas during the offensive's first few days. They'll change road signs, cut communication lines, spread false rumors, issue false orders, and generally create as much chaos as possible. These teams have a better chance of survival. They can blend into the confusion of retreat. Chaos is their friend. As long as American rear areas are in disarray, they can operate with some safety. Third, the combat brigade, the majority of Panzer Brigade 15, wearing German uniforms, operating openly. If the infiltration teams succeed in capturing bridges, this brigade will rush forward to hold them until the main German armor arrives. In early December, Skorzeny briefs his commandos on the details of Operation Greif. He tells them the truth. This mission violates international law. If captured in American uniforms, they will be treated as spies. They will be executed. He gives them one last chance to withdraw. No one will think less of them. No punishment will be given. Not a single man backs out.
December 16th, 1944, 5:30 a.m. Along an 80-mile front in the Ardennes, 2,000 German artillery pieces open fire simultaneously. American forward positions are obliterated, communication lines are severed, command posts destroyed. Within minutes, entire units are cut off from their headquarters. Then the German armor comes. Hundreds of tanks and assault guns, supported by infantry, pour through the shattered American lines. The surprise is complete. American forces, expecting a quiet winter, are overwhelmed. And in the midst of this conventional assault, Operation Greif begins. As German forces punch through American lines, Skorzeny's infiltration teams move out, driving captured American jeeps, wearing American uniforms, speaking English. Their goal? Slip through the chaos, reach American rear areas, and begin their mission of sabotage and confusion. The first teams pass through the breakthrough points without incident. The chaos of the German assault provides perfect cover. American military police are too busy dealing with retreating units to conduct thorough identity checks. Some teams get lucky. They encounter American units in full retreat, too panicked to ask questions. They simply wave the commandos through, assuming they're American troops fleeing like everyone else. One team encounters an American military police checkpoint. The lead driver, one of Skorzeny's best English speakers, calmly presents forged orders, claims to be a dispatch rider from Corps headquarters. The MP barely glances at the documents. Too much else going on. He waves them through. The commandos can barely believe it. They're in. Over the next several hours, multiple teams successfully infiltrate American rear areas. They begin their work, changing road signs to misdirect reinforcements, cutting telephone lines, removing bridge markers, spreading false rumors about German paratroopers landing behind American lines. It works better than anyone expected.
Say again, all units report holding the line at Utah.
That's impossible. We just had confirmation of the advance.
Check those coordinates again.
Within the first day of the offensive, American commanders are receiving bizarre, contradictory reports. Units moving toward the front encounter road signs directing them in circles. Communication with forward positions is impossible. Phone lines cut everywhere. Bridges marked on maps no longer exist, or exist where they shouldn't. In the fog of war, American units begin firing on each other. Friend or foe recognition breaks down. Everyone is suspicious of everyone else.
Then the rumors start. German commandos in American uniforms are everywhere. They've infiltrated command posts, they're sabotaging vehicles, they're assassinating officers. Some of the rumors are true. Most are wildly exaggerated. But in the chaos of retreat, truth and fiction become impossible to separate. American military police begin stopping every vehicle, every soldier, demanding identification, asking questions. But what questions can distinguish an American from a German who speaks perfect English? Someone comes up with an idea. Ask questions only an American would know. Who won the World Series? Who's Betty Grable's husband? What's the capital of Illinois? Who are the starting lineup for the Yankees? It sounds absurd, but in the absence of any better method, it becomes standard practice. The problem, many genuine American soldiers don't know the answers either. A soldier from rural Mississippi who's never followed baseball is detained as a suspected German infiltrator because he can't name the starting pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers. An officer from Oregon gives the wrong answer about Illinois' capital. He thinks it's Chicago, not Springfield, and spends 12 hours under guard before his identity is verified. The most famous victim is General Omar Bradley, commander of the 12th Army Group, one of the most senior American commanders in Europe. Bradley is stopped at a checkpoint, interrogated, asked who won the World Series. He gives the correct answer. Then the MP asks a follow-up question. Who's Mickey Mouse's girlfriend? Bradley, irritated, says he doesn't know and doesn't care. The MP, convinced this proves Bradley is German, detains him at gunpoint. Bradley spends hours under guard, the commander of over 1 million American soldiers detained by his own military police until higher headquarters confirms his identity. The paranoia has reached insane levels.
December 17th, one day into the offensive. A team of German commandos approaches an American checkpoint near Malmedy. Their English is good, better than most. Their uniforms perfect. Their documents flawless. But the MP conducting the interrogation is sharp. He notices something. A slight hesitation, a barely perceptible accent, an answer that's just slightly off. He signals to other MPs. Within seconds, the commandos are surrounded, weapons trained on them. One commando reaches for his sidearm. He's shot before he can draw it. The others surrender. When the commandos are searched, the truth becomes clear. German IDs hidden in their boots. German weapons concealed in their jeep. Maps marked in German. They're German infiltrators. The rumors are true. Over the next several days, more teams are captured. Some at checkpoints, some when their vehicles break down and they can't explain why they have spare parts. Some simply because they make small mistakes, use a German hand signal, say a word with the wrong accent, look nervous when questioned. The captured commandos are interrogated intensively. Some refuse to talk. Others, knowing execution is inevitable, provide details about Operation Greif. The interrogations reveal the scale of the operation. Hundreds of infiltrators, sabotage missions, plans to capture the Meuse bridges, the entire deception plan. American intelligence passes the information up the chain of command. Counterintelligence units are mobilized. The manhunt intensifies. Under the laws of war,
soldiers fighting in enemy uniforms are not entitled to prisoners of war protections. They're considered spies, francs-tireurs, illegal combatants. The penalty is death. The military tribunals are brief. The evidence is overwhelming. German IDs, enemy uniforms, forged documents, captured while conducting sabotage. The verdicts are unanimous. Guilty. Sentence: execution by firing squad. On December 23, 1944, 18 captured German commandos are executed by firing squad near Malmedy. They face death with courage. Some give the Nazi salute. Some sing German patriotic songs. One shouts, "Long live Germany," as the shots ring out. Over the following weeks, more captured commandos are tried and executed. By the end of January 1945, American forces have executed approximately 44 members of Operation Greif. It's the largest mass execution of German prisoners by American forces during the war. When Skorzeny learns of the executions, he's furious. Not at the Americans. He understood the risks from the beginning. But at himself. These men trusted him, followed his orders, and now they're dead. He vows that if he's captured, he'll accept whatever punishment comes. He ordered this operation. The responsibility is his.
Did Operation Greif succeed? In one sense, yes. The infiltration teams created tremendous confusion and paranoia in American rear areas. They tied down thousands of troops conducting security checks. They delayed reinforcements moving to the front. They forced American commanders to divert attention and resources to counter-infiltration measures. At the height of the paranoia, the American Army implemented security measures unprecedented in modern warfare. Every soldier questioned, every vehicle searched. Thousands of man-hours wasted on interrogations and identity verifications. In that sense, Skorzeny's mission succeeded beyond expectations. A few hundred infiltrators created chaos affecting hundreds of thousands of American troops. But in the ultimate objective, capturing the Meuse bridges, Operation Greif failed completely. Not a single infiltration team reached the bridges. Most were captured or killed before getting anywhere close. The chaos they created wasn't enough to prevent American engineers from preparing the bridges for demolition. And the German offensive itself was already stalling. Fierce American resistance, fuel shortages, terrible weather preventing air support. By Christmas, the offensive was effectively over. The Battle of the Bulge ends in decisive Allied victory. Germany has thrown everything into one last desperate gamble and lost. Operation Greif becomes a footnote, a bizarre, audacious experiment that created chaos but changed nothing. Or did it?
May 1945. Germany surrenders. The war is over. Otto Skorzeny surrenders to American forces. He expects to be tried and executed for Operation Greif. Instead, he's held as a witness at the Nuremberg trials. His case is complicated. He planned Operation Greif, yes, but he wasn't captured in enemy uniform. And under the laws of war, planning a deception operation isn't necessarily a crime. Executing it is. In 1947, Skorzeny stands trial for war crimes related to Operation Greif. Surprisingly, a British officer testifies in his defense. The officer explains that British commandos conducted similar operations during the war, wearing enemy uniforms, conducting sabotage behind enemy lines. The prosecution's case falls apart. If the Allies did the same thing, how can it be a war crime when the Germans do it? Skorzeny is acquitted. He escapes custody a year later, almost certainly with Allied intelligence assistance, and lives the rest of his life in Spain, where he dies in 1975. To the end, he maintains that Operation Greif was a legitimate military operation, that his men were brave soldiers following orders, that the Americans who executed them committed murder. History is more ambiguous. Operation Greif changed warfare forever. Before Greif, military deception was common. Camouflage, dummy positions, radio deception, psychological warfare. But Greif took deception to a new level. Soldiers not just disguising equipment, but disguising themselves. Not just spreading false information, but actually impersonating the enemy. After World War II, the Geneva Conventions were updated to address this new form of warfare. The rules about fighting in enemy uniforms were clarified. The protections for prisoners of war strengthened. But the legacy of Greif lives on in modern special operations doctrine. Every major military now trains special operations forces in infiltration techniques, deception operations, and psychological warfare. The principle Skorzeny pioneered, use of enemy equipment, mimicking enemy communications, spreading confusion in rear areas, are standard special operations tactics. The execution methods have been refined. The legal frameworks clarified, the ethics debated endlessly. But the core concept remains. In war, deception is a weapon. And sometimes the most effective weapon isn't a bomb or a bullet. It's making the enemy doubt what they see, who they trust, and what they believe. Operation Greif lasted less than 2 weeks. It involved a few hundred soldiers. It failed in its ultimate objective. But it created a level of paranoia and confusion unprecedented in modern warfare. It forced an entire army to question everyone and everything. It turned soldiers into suspects and headquarters into interrogation centers. And it cost 44 young men their lives. Soldiers who followed orders, took incredible risks, and paid the ultimate price for their loyalty. Were they heroes, war criminals, misguided patriots, brave soldiers? The answer depends on which side you ask. But one thing is certain. Operation Greif proved that in war, the line between legitimate tactics and war crimes is razor thin. And that the fog of war isn't just physical, it's psychological, moral, and ethical. The Battle of the Bulge is remembered for its conventional combat, the desperate German assault, the heroic American defense, the siege of Bastogne. But behind the headlines was Operation Greif, the secret war, the war of deception and paranoia. A war where soldiers questioned reality itself. Today, the Ardennes is peaceful. The forests have regrown. The shell craters have been filled. The blood has long since washed away. But the legacy of Operation Greif remains. In military training, in international law, in the stories veterans told their grandchildren about the time they weren't sure who was really on their side. If this story fascinated you, drop a comment below. What's the most audacious military deception operation you've heard of? And should Skorzeny have been executed for Operation Greif, or was he a soldier following legitimate orders? Subscribe for more untold military history, the missions that changed warfare, the soldiers who risked everything, and the operations that remain controversial decades later.